I'm terrible at introductions, but I have Days from Online Survival Season 1. Q, who will be on Online Survival Season 2 at some point in the fall.
Oh.
So, I guess my first question is, since you've both played Online Survival, very different seasons though. Days, yours was on a message board. Season 2, not so much. So, what do you both think is easier about online isolation or harder about online isolation from what you've seen so far?
Well, like you said, mine was a little bit different. So I had the opportunity to talk to players outside of the game, which helped build a lot of connections. There were a lot of discussions away from the game, and that helped a lot with strategy. So I think my opinion is going to be completely different than Q might have.
Definitely. We didn't get to talk at all outside of our little 7 or 8 minute chats. So as far as like really establishing those like friendships and connections that I think people in online isolation genuinely have, we didn't have any of that. And also I think in terms of like what's, easier or harder, I think not having challenges is a lot easier because I mean, they don't have to compete to stay in the game. But I definitely think that talking to a group of people, for me anyways, for 50 minutes would be terrible.
Yeah, that's definitely something I noticed. If you're not a super outgoing, over the top personality, it looked like it was really difficult to get a word in during those chats.
Yeah. How do you think you would do? Oh, sorry, Nick.
um, I mean, I'd make it work. I can put myself in most any situation and adapt. But I don't know. There's some really over the top personalities in online isolation.
Yeah.
Like with Leonard, I would want to shoot myself. Not gonna lie. And then
Yeah.
with Lils, I don't know if I'd be able to get a word in. So it'd be more
Yeah.
frustrating for me just trying to get into the conversation. I mean, that would be the hardest part for me. Hey, stop.
Yeah. I agree. I feel like I would have been Monet. I definitely relate with Monet the most because, like, I just sit back and I'm like, nobody's gonna shut the fuck up, so I'm not gonna talk.
She talked though. If she wasn't working,
Mm-hmm.
if she wasn't working most of the time, like when she put forth the effort to actually get into the conversation, she was good.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Adam. I mean, Adam hasn't been talking a lot in most of the chats, but
Mm-hmm.
when he does, he says a lot. But for the most part, he's sitting back observing, kind of like how we see the Flash doing after 3
Mm-hmm.
episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Before moving on and going through the cast, which I want to do, I want to touch upon the whole competitions thing. Days, do you think if you were in this game with no competitions, that would have helped you or hurt you?
Say that again.
If you were in a game with no competitions, do you think that would have helped you or hurt you?
As in, no games that we have to play?
Yeah, the challenges.
Um, it'd be hit or miss because I'm not that great at the challenges. As it is, generally my plan in a game like Survivor is to build relationships and build trust, so that I don't have to rely on the game aspect of it. Because a lot of those games are just crapshoots.
They're hit or
I mean,
miss.
there's nothing you can really plan for and be great at. I think in my season, one of the very last challenges, it was a 10-minute video, and I watched, I think maybe a minute and a half of it just to see how many options there were, and I just went in the middle and picked 12, and that's how I won. I didn't even watch the whole video. So I don't know. I mean, I like Survivor. I like the game aspect of it, but in a game where popularity matters and just how you put yourself out to others, I don't know, because I can be pretty brash to a lot of folks.
Well, I won't give anything away, but I was just gonna agree with what a lot of what Dave said. I was not a social player at all my season, so I probably would not have fared well in this game at all.
I mean, I'm just curious because I was able to build relationships away from the game. Is that a component at all in the second season? Like, how do you go about that if you can't talk to them away from the game?
Nick, do you want to answer that? Can I answer that?
I mean, I will say there was a player in the game who I felt, for the most part, played a very good social game somehow, despite the limited amount of time to talk to people.
I just feel like for your season, right? Like you guys all really got to know each other, like Fang Guy and Aspen, and like you and Aspen, you guys all seemed really cool at the end of the season, and I don't think I had that connection with my castmates. So
It's going to be tough. I'm excited to see that one.
I'm going to try and remember the order people appeared in the episode one, and start with the Flash and see your guys' assessment of his game in the first 3 episodes. Q.
Oh, starting off with me. The Flash. I like the Flash. I think he's very strategic. But I think it's interesting how Lils and like certain players can read him like a book in terms of like his strategy. They definitely can. Like Lils has called the Flash out every time, and so has Wesley.
I have some points to make on Lils when it comes to reading people.
Me too, actually. And I also think the Flash is a peak Pisces for sure. Definitely gives me Pisces.
Dazed.
When I first saw him, I was a little worried for him because he is very over the top, but he has adaptability. His confessionals where he was talking about, sitting back and being a little bit more quiet. I noticed that in the first 2 episodes without actually hearing him say that, and I thought that was a pretty smart move. I don't know how that's going to work going forward because he's on a lot of people's radar already, especially with that whole blunder of trying to tell a lie with Brooklyn in the room. That was really messy. I haven't watched the full chat on that yet, but I want to see how the whole thing went down. But that was rough. It was brutal to watch just in the show. So if he can overcome that, I think he has. I think he's doing a good job of moving back and forth on the outgoing to reserve scale. So he should be good going forward, I hope.
On the bright side, that mess up of a lie did at least take place in the void and not the actual game. So
well, it hurt Brooklyn. That hurt Brooklyn the most after seeing her in the bottom. I don't know how that happened, how just completely telling a lie and somehow it came back on her. I was really disappointed to see her at the bottom.
Next, we might as well talk about Brooklyn. Dazed.
I liked her from the beginning. She has kind of that really sweet personality that you wouldn't expect would do any wrong to you. But I have a feeling there's some Black Widow under there. She's going to rip off some heads. I think she's struggling right now. She was in a good place to start, but in the last episode or 2, she's fallen down. I think she's struggling to hold her weight with some of the bigger personalities. I thought she was going to go far, but I'm knocking her down. I mean, middle of the pack, and she's gone.
Q.
I agree with the latter part of the assessment. She's definitely middle of the pack for sure. I do think she's kind of struggling to hold her weight against someone like Lils and like the bigger personalities. But this whole like angelic act that she's trying to pull, I'm not buying it at all. I don't feel like she is angelic at all. I don't feel like she's honest. And I mean, this is not me assassinating Brooklyn's character, by the way. I don't know her as a person. But as a player, I feel like she's very shady. She's sneaky. And she fucking lied. She lied. And like in that moment, she could have been like, oh no, the Flash. It was me, not Lindsay. But she went into it, totally failed at it, and then tried to be like, oh, you know what? I'm remembering that it was me in the void. I was the one that voted you out.
Is that how it went down in the chat?
Yes, that's how it went down. It was literally like she went along with the lie, and then she remembered once Elizabeth figured it out, she remembered all of a sudden that she actually was involved in voting Elizabeth out. And she also pissed me off because she tries to like play this whole, oh, I stuck to the plan. No, you didn't, because you gave Elizabeth a 3, right? So she didn't rank Elizabeth high. And she knew from the get-go, like, yeah, the Flash was the one that ultimately voted Elizabeth out, but she knew that she wanted Elizabeth out because she said from day one that she never really fucked with her. So she gets other people to do her dirty work.
Nick, can you clarify on how the voting went down with that? Because the way I saw it in the episode, it looked to me like she voted all 5s, but I think I got confused with the threat vote and the likability vote.
Yeah, there were 2 different ones. She voted all 5s for one. She voted 2 5s for the other, but a 3 for Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for the likability, she voted all 5s?
I believe. No, I'd have to go back and watch, to be honest.
Okay. I mean, it took me 2 episodes.
Plan?
The plan was for all 4 of them to vote all 5s.
For all categories.
Yes.
I don't know that part.
That was allegedly the plan. Nobody followed it, but
when I watched back that chat, like there was no clear plan in place. It was like, oh yeah, let's all vote, everybody high, let's make an alliance, woo woo. But obviously, it did not turn out that way. But I didn't realize until after the second or third episode that was not how the vote actually went down. So I need to watch that chat again. Because yeah, maybe, like I said, I think she's pretty innocent, but I thought she had that Black Widow in her, and what you're telling me kind of makes that seem maybe true.
We'll move on to Monet Q, who you said you feel like you might be most like.
Yes, it's our Gemini connection. The Gemini ascendant. She's a Gemini. I feel her vibe. I feel her energy. I like Monet. I think I am very similar to Monet in that, like, I'm not going to compete with people to talk. And so, like, often throughout her confessional, she's like, yeah, no one would shut the fuck up for me to say anything. And I'm like, yeah, I resonate with that. I don't see Monet, like, the players have an option to get out of the void at some point, right?
Yes.
I don't see her getting out of the void because I just don't see her being likable enough for people to get her out of the void, or however that works. And I feel like if the void is going to have some power, I feel like she could really operate from the void, but she's not going to win the game because she's going to be stuck in the void. So
I might have a bit of a controversial take on this. Because in my season of online survival, I used the littlest thing to vote out certain people, such as Mike not showing up to a tribal council. So if I was playing online isolation, I probably would have done the same with Monet. I don't like people not showing up to chats. I don't like them not showing up to play games. You can just get on out, because from what I've heard, there were a lot of applicants for this game, and I'm sure somebody else could have taken that spot that could have, been a personality on the game and gone far. Looking at her right now, I feel like she's kind of checked out. If she has an opportunity to come back, I don't really see her putting forth much effort to actually get back into the game. That's just my read on it. On a personal level, I like her. I think she's real chill. I think when she was first introduced, I was like, yes, I can see her going far, but that just didn't work out at all. If she gets back into the game, I'll root for her, but I don't see her coming back from the void.
I'll say about Monet, when she does get a chance to speak, because she does catch a lot, I do think like she gives good insight, but
I agree with that.
Only when she gets a chance to speak. We will touch upon Elizabeth next, and we'll speed this up a bit before we might have a guest or two joining us. Days, what are your thoughts on Elizabeth?
Snakeabith. What can I say? Looking back, she's not really a snake. Nobody in that group went with what they said they were going to do. The only issue I have with her is her somewhat of a victim complex, whatever you want to call it. Because like Adam said, she didn't vote that way either, but she kept bringing it up in other chats like, oh, they did me dirty. Girl, you did the exact same thing. You know, the best thing to do in that situation was to keep your mouth shut. You didn't have to volunteer that information. And in a game where everyone will use the smallest piece of information to get you out, they will do it. And that's what they did.
Q.
She's definitely a Sagittarius, and that she doesn't shut the fuck up because she did not have to volunteer that information at all. And Adam played her. Adam called her out and was like, "Oh, so you mean to tell me that you lied?" And she couldn't get out of that. I do agree that she is not a snake, though. And I do agree with your assessment that she has this whole victim thing going on. But I think the same could be said of Brooklyn, of this whole kind of like victim self-righteousness almost. And it's like, you're all dirty. Like, you all turned on each other. But I do kind of understand her plight, because if no one did it, why was she the only one in the group that got punished? You know what I'm saying? And I think that goes back to Brooklyn, who ultimately had an agenda of wanting to get Elizabeth out in the first place. So I'm cool with Elizabeth, though. I like her personality, and I don't think she's a snake. And I don't think she's strategic either.
She would have been one of the first on my list to be targeted. Just, that's nothing against her personally. Just, it's hard for me to explain. Her and I just would not get along well. In real life, it would not happen. So that's all I have to say about that. It's the personality. There's, going down the list, like her, Leonard, probably Lils. Like I wouldn't vibe with them. Just nonstop talking, and I want to be able to get something in, and I don't want to have to compete with that. As far as a conversation goes, conversation shouldn't be difficult to have between people. So yeah.
Where's your Mercury again? Is it Scorpio? Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough. You know, I have good memory.
It's Leo based.
Leonard, yeah. LA.
Many.
I don't know what you want me to say about him. I mean, there's no real strategy there. It's just, yeah, I see that look you're giving me. He did come up with the, everybody vote 5, and that could have been a ploy, but he's so hard to understand. I can't deal with it. I think he's going to be one of the next couple to go. I wouldn't be surprised if in episode 4 or 5 he's, being voted to the void. Honestly, I'm ready to see him go.
Q.
I agree that I think Leo's time is running out. Leo's going to go soon, 100%. But I think, and I also agree that he's hard to understand. And you would think for someone that has a language barrier, he would shut up more, but he doesn't let that stop him. Like, he talks all the time. But I do think that Leo, if Leo gets sent to the void, he has the best chances of getting out of the void. I do think that, because he's got a really egregious personality. I don't know. I think that Leo is kind of endearing, and I also don't think that he's as not strategic as you think. I think Leo, I think he talks too much, but I think he's got some strategy there.
I personally think
oh, go ahead.
Leo's biggest problem is that I think people are divided on him. Some people really like him, others not so much.
Mm-hmm.
I think his strategy in life. I think his strategy in life is look pretty and party. That's how I see him. And I think that kind of ties over to this game.
True, it is a social game. I think it would be really interesting, because like in season 1 of Online Survival, there was a game where you had everyone like rate like who's the most attractive, right? And I think that you should have had everyone just like blind, not even to the audience, but you should have had everyone rank each other's attractiveness and then see if the hottest people make it to the end and end up winning.
In this game,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say Elizabeth has joined us. I'm not going to bring you in quite yet, Elizabeth. We're kind of doing a bit of a cast assessment, and we'll talk about.
Ooh, glad we talked about her already. I'm kidding.
What are your thoughts on Dee Dee, Q?
Well, can I mention the fact that Dee Dee and I played together in another game, in the other game?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
So I know Dee in terms of as a player. I like Dee. She is, she's good. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give away our season, but I like Dee. I am Team Dee to an extent. There are other people that I'm also rooting for in this game, but I do like Dee. I think right now she's playing it really under the radar. So I'm interested to, but that was her plan, right? She said she wanted to be bottom and then move to the middle and then be a power player.
Now that you say that, I'm ready to see her in online survival. I think that would be good. Her confessionals are really good. She seems cool, like somebody I would hang out with in my everyday life. I think where she's sitting in the game is good. I could see her as a dark horse to win this game. She's personable with most everybody. She gets her point across when she needs to. I like her. I'm Team Dee Dee.
Dee Dee is a Sagittarius.
I don't discriminate between signs. All right, I want to speed this up before I bring in Elizabeth. So just quick words on DeLeon Dazed.
Sociable, great, talks great. I think he'll go far. I could see him in top 3.
Q.
Petty.
Wow.
I love DeLeon though, but petty.
Lils, Q.
Talks too much. But I don't dislike her, but she talks too much. And I'm not a fan of her whole SWOT analysis. There's some holes in her analysis sometimes, but okay.
Dazed.
On the fence.
I think Lindsay said it best. Fake, what'd she say it was? Psychic reader? Tarot reader?
Something like that.
Yeah.
That's Monet.
Well.
Yeah, she is a tarot reader.
She is.
I don't like her. I liked her when she first debuted, but as the season goes on, it's too much for me. Middle of the pack for her. She won't make it to the end.
Who was left? I'm trying to remember.
Wesley.
Adam Dazed.
I like Adam. I wish he would have, been on cam a bit more for me to get to know him. But I think I said it earlier. He can be out there and outspoken when he needs. Huh?
I was just gonna say that.
He talks when he needs to and sits back and watches when he needs information, and he's really good at spinning things to get other people to notice. So I like him to go far in this game.
Q.
Adam is also petty. He's shady. He's very strategic. But I like Adam. I have a soft spot for him because I feel like I kind of am a little similar in the way that I played my game. So I kind of like Adam. Sorry, Elizabeth.
I'd like to point out that Mellow Mushroom is not bougie.
That's where he works?
Wesley, Q.
I like Wesley. He's an asshole, but like in the most endearing way possible. And he doesn't give a fuck. I also kind of have that energy of, we'll say, 100% whatever pops into my mind. So I like Wesley.
Dazed.
My fellow Scorpio, I'm willing to bet that he has a fire moon. I like him. I like his shit stirring. It's kind of the game I like to play, but under wraps. He could be another one that goes far. I want to see him last a while.
Treasure, Dazed.
My original opinion on her has changed immensely. When I first saw her, I did not like her because she was so quiet. But once the big personalities kind of got out of the way, she expressed her points really eloquently. I like her to go far. I really do. I I think maybe she could possibly win this thing.
Q.
I agreed up until the end. I really like Treasure, and I think she's very well spoken, and she's very mature to say she's the youngest in the game, which 18 is like not that young. But I don't think she's gonna win the game. I don't see it. She plays with her heart and not with strategy. She's like, oh, I really like this person, so her votes are all fucked up.
Alex. Q.
That name just like took me to the wrong Alex. Alex, I'm sorry, but like who even is Alex? And that's just not even shade. I just feel like Alex just, who is she? You know.
Dazed.
I would say she is not a bad bitch that wishes she was a bad bitch, and that's how she wants to come across in the game. I don't see her lasting too much longer. I think she wants to be super hard and have that attitude, but it's not. I thought it was there like the first episode, and then it just tailored off. And she's, like Q said, unforgettable.
Yeah, I don't know why
She
is forgettable.
She's like Delion, but go ahead, whoever's. Yeah.
I feel Alex came in without a plan, but then said that she didn't want to talk about a strategy, and I think that threw people off.
Yeah, threw the flash off.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. Okay, the final ones are Lindsay. Q.
Well, I'm not a fan of Lindsay. I'm not a fan of Lindsay, to be honest. Not as a person, just as a player. I feel like she's super lost, super wishy-washy, definitely a cliche, like Pisces. Just who is she? What is she doing? Yeah, Nick.
Okay.
I like her. I don't think she's going to make it to the end of the game. Her little one-liners in the chats, though, are hilarious. The same with Kelsey. I've been tagging like the "for revenge" in one of the chats. I thought it was super funny. She adds some hilarity to the show, I think, although she's a bit of a space cadet. Middle of the pack player.
And the final person is Kelsey. Days before I bring in Elizabeth and Dee Dee.
I didn't like Kelsey at the beginning. I love her now. She is who I want to win the game, and I'll that's all I have for her.
Q.
She's not who I want to win the game. I think Kelsey is she's playing a mixed game for me. She has a good social game thus far. She's very strategic, but then she's also sneaky, and I have a whole thing with sneaky people, and I don't like it.
All right, well, I'm going to bring in Elizabeth and Dee Dee to talk about the first 3 episodes. Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
I would
Y'all are going in and out. I'm sorry, I'm on the road right now.
Well, I am going to start with Elizabeth and ask what went wrong for you.
Well, where does it even start where it went wrong for me? But I definitely will say that the biggest thing that got me was being honest about what happened. I probably should have just shut up, but that definitely is one of my faults. I just keep talking. But especially when angry. But I mean, like whenever it comes down to it, I did the same, if not nicer than what everyone else did in my group. Because for the first 3 days, I went back to check. But I gave them 4s and 5s. It depended on who it was. Like Brooklyn was the one I trusted the most. So she always had a 5 to me for every day in the beginning. And then Leo, I started to trust him later. And Kelsey was always just a 4 because we
you're the 5.
Yeah, so I'm the 5. There's no other room for other 5.
That's what I said to Days.
What?
Go ahead, sorry. Well, that's what I said to Days. I said that you were you did nothing different than what everyone else in your group did, but it was like you got punished for it. So exactly,
and they all got hurt from it, even though they did the same things. So it was just kind of, and I was like, you can tell, like, even in the show, like, I'm genuinely confused. I'm like, I don't know why I ended up here. Like, I don't understand that part. And I don't know. Yeah. But it
Why
definitely
do
went
you
wrong real quick.
why do you think everybody didn't do the 5 thing after
Because,
talking about
well,
it the
okay,
whole
I'll
chat?
tell you why the reason why I didn't. Like, the reason why I didn't, like, even when they brought it up, you look at my face when they bring it up. I'm like, because that's just a lot to ask. And we were also grading on 2 different things, so that also did, like, kind of confuse me a little bit, because I'm like, well, what is it? Not leadership, but the other one. Threat level. Like, I'm like, well, they're not big threats, and do I want to put them as big threats? No, I would think not. But do I see them as leadership? Yeah. But, like, I just felt like no one was going to follow through with it. Like, I knew that from the beginning. That's why when they said that, like, I was cool with an alliance, like, 100%. But the all 5s, I was like, we have a few too many people in here that I don't know very well. We all just agreed on this. So, yeah. I just feel like
Because you
that's how
just brought
everyone else
Kelsey
felt.
in, right?
Huh?
Because you had just brought Kelsey into that whole pack.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. She had just been brought into that group because it was me, Leo, and Brooklyn from the get-go, and Flash, but I can't remember when we made the pact if Flash was in it, but I feel like he was.
He was in an original pack, but not the 5 one.
Yeah, I think just the Alliance, but not the 5 Alliance. But yeah.
So Dee Dee, bring you in here. What did you? How were your first few days in the game?
It was confusing. It took me a while to get like a real understanding to what was going on. But like towards midway, like about now in the episode, no, I'm still lost now in the episode. But probably like the next couple episodes, then I'll probably know what I'm doing then. But it was confusing for me because I really didn't understand the concept at first because I never seen like any of the shows that you were describing. I was like, what is this? I don't understand what you're talking about. But it got better in time.
How did you feel about the original members of Parallelogram? Because it seems like you guys hit it off right away, but then it kind of just fell away.
I don't know. I think we just let the conversation flow like naturally, and we just saw that we had stuff in common and that we like vibe good enough for us to click like that.
Who was Parallelogram? Dee Dee, DeLeon, and
Deleon,
Lils?
Lils, and Maria.
Speaking of Lils for a moment, Days and Q had some thoughts about her game. What were your initial feelings of Lils?
I like Lils from the start because I don't know. She reminded me of like my first grade teacher or something. It's like she's like a mom figure, but not like my mom. My mom is different, but like she reminds me of like I don't know. It's just because she was open and she was honest and everything. She was funny, so that's why I liked her. That was one of my first initials. I never had any bad feelings towards Lils, like except like once when I was kind of paranoid, but it was nothing serious like that.
I want to touch upon that. This is for Elizabeth. That conversation in the void, when Brooklyn and Flash are in the void, trying to lie to you. What was going through your mind during that somewhat awkward conversation?
Well, just the fact that Brooklyn says that she was not playing dumb, she had totally forgot. I know for a fact she was just playing dumb. It was very obvious that she was definitely just playing dumb. I was very hurt to find out that Brooklyn was one of them because she saved Lindsay, who she didn't even know that well and didn't have an alliance with before, just because of what Adam said, even though she could have like done the math in her head and realized no, Elizabeth wasn't the only person who lied about the scoring. But I guess she just decided to not think about that, just get mad, I guess. But and the fact that Flash was lying the whole time was terrible, absolutely terrible. Like, and then me with my brain, which we will see throughout. when he popped Lindsay in, I was just totally 100% for it. I'm like, yeah, Lindsay. And I'm like, wait, something isn't adding up. And I'm glad it didn't, because if he, maybe if he would have said like Kelsey from the beginning, I would have believed him, I guess. But when they started switching things, I was like, okay, wait, no, I'm going back on this. Something is not adding up at all with what y'all are saying. And it's funny because they thought that I knew from the get-go, whenever I called them down there, that they were the ones that voted me out. I knew Flash was, because I knew from the beginning that Flash was going to be a power player quite often, just because the way he presented himself to everybody. But yeah, I did not. I thought Brooklyn was the one to trust, which she ended up telling me who it was by being her, but
Why do you think Brooklyn seemed to not trust you from basically the beginning?
Well, I watched her face, like, being able to watch it over, like, with me not speaking, like, it gave me an insight to her, like, her face whenever I brought up a genuine, like, thought that I had about the game. Like, I was saying, like, the people higher up are probably going to say the same thing we are, but not going to do it. And that's the first thing I ever said that, like, made her question me. Because you can see in her face, she's like, And she even says it in her confession too, but I just genuinely had that feeling. I didn't mean I was gonna do it, but she definitely took it that way.
How did you know that the Flash was gonna vote you out? Like, if you and the Flash were in a group initially, right?
Yeah, yes, we were.
Did you guys just not hit it off, or?
I guess not. Everyone had something about me that I just couldn't fully trust in the beginning. I don't know what it is. Maybe I just was being too honest, like, about my thoughts and everything. But, so it just kind of threw him off a little bit. But I really don't know. Like, and I saw the voting in the beginning. They had their favorites from the group, but I, like, wasn't one of them. So I really don't know what happened with the Flash. But I didn't love him as much because I felt like he was trying a little too hard, personally. But, like, that was just for me. So, I don't know.
Dee Dee, in this last episode, without giving anything away, there is this new alliance with you, Kelsey, and Leo that is going to once again vote everybody fives and everybody else low. Well, why do you think this one worked, at least for Kelsey?
Kelsey already had high points anyway, because remember she had the 4.0. So I knew Kelsey was going to be a power player. It was just down to me and Leo. But I think it worked because I guess it backfired on Leo, like, or both of them the first time. So I don't know if I'm just give off that vibe of trustworthy person, but we all went through it, so we shall see
I
if it
kind of feel
lasts.
like it might have been more of they're in the bottom now, so they have to do it.
Absolutely.
I want to touch upon a few other things while Dee and Elizabeth are here, just to get their assessment of other people. Elizabeth, you only met Alex for a very short time. What was your first impression of her?
Yeah. See, and I think, sadly, I met Alex during the 20-minute periods of time. I didn't get a full even session with her, and I was with quite a few people. So, I mean, I can't really remember because, like, I know I rated her like a 3, I think, after like meeting everybody. Because the people that I just didn't know, I was like 3, because no one really stood out to me too much. But I will say, from what I've seen, I think it was just because, like, the first thing for her was that she just didn't give up what her plan was for the game. And to be honest, I wouldn't really have either, because I didn't, like, necessarily have a game plan or whatever. I was just like, I'm just going to be friendly. Like, that's it. So that's why I was just, like, kind of weird. I don't know. I don't think Jose should have made so much just off of that, but that's just me personally.
Dee Dee, what was your first impression of Alex, and why do you think the Flash feels the way he does?
I think because she didn't tell him her business. Like, it's not your business. If I were her, I wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm not telling y'all." But I would have just, like, even though I don't be playing, because sometimes I be dumb for real, but I would have just played it off like I didn't know. But He just wanted to know her business. But the fact is, he was trying to know her plan, all the while not giving out his plan. That's when he did his confession. It was like, oh, well, they don't know this about me, and I do this and that. He was just full of himself. That's all he is.
Elizabeth, what are your thoughts on Adam? And why do you feel the way you do
Oh.
about Adam? Is it because of him initially calling you out?
I definitely don't love when people just, go right ahead. And I feel like, I mean, I didn't watch the full thing, so you could have cut, like, the part where I was actually explaining myself out. But I definitely don't think I explained as much as I should have to them after already telling them initially. Probably should have, like, gave a little bit more information. But I was just mad, and I was just trying to vent. And then he came around and came back at me. I'm like, okay, but the point is, I'm in the at-risk group tonight, the lowest group you can be in. So obviously, I had a good intuition not to give them all fives, because look at where I ended up.
Another big thing that happened in this episode, well, the past 2 episodes, was Leo saying bitch to Kelsey, and now DeLeon going around with the story of how
Smart. That was a heady play.
anybody's thoughts on that.
That's
Hey,
what
Okay,
he
play.
so
said.
like me personally, I'm gonna talk from the point of view that like I actually liked
I'm
Leo,
sorry.
and I like I like that type of personality. Like I'm usually friends with those type of people, even though they are girls. But anyways, doesn't matter. Not the point. But he's just definitely like one of the girls. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just how I felt personally. A lot of people were annoyed from him, but I personally liked him. And whenever I heard about the bitch thing, I'm like, okay, and like he's probably just like, hey, bitch, and like he does, like that's just his personality. DeLeon totally stirred the pot as much as he could with that. I was like, oh my god, DeLeon isn't like whenever it got back to me in the void, I was like, it's not that big of a deal.
It got around.
I was like, that's not a big deal. Like, why did it blow up? And yeah.
That's how I thought. That's how I took it when he said it, as a joke, or that's just how he talks in his regular life. But smart move by DeLeon.
He
Pressing
gaslit
that
Leo
hard.
is what he did.
No, he did. No, for sure.
Literally
I mean,
gaslit him.
I know Q over here doesn't like shadiness, but at the end of all this, it's a game, and if you want to win, you got to do some shady shit. And
It's true.
You
I
don't,
thought it was
though.
smart.
You really don't.
I mean, that's what Adam did, but
Uh-oh.
I
Is
guess-
that a spoiler?
no, I just mean from
Oh.
the beginning.
Oh, I was like, damn, did Adam win?
Another thing to touch upon, I guess, would be Wesley allegedly going after Lils. Do you think he's going after Lils? Because he says he's going after Lils, but they're pretty
Wesley needs to shut up. Like Wesley, I believed him at first. I was like, Wesley, shut up. Like in my head, I was like, he really need to shut up because like when I saw that episode, and he was just as calm. He didn't go for her any type of way. Didn't even bring up any type of antagonism or nothing. Just buddy, best friends. I was so mad. Like you talking like, oh, I told her that I'm gonna, but no, you didn't. Hush. Like,
Talking all the smack before.
Exactly.
I have a question though, because was that the appropriate situation for Wesley to go after Lils though? Because weren't they potential power players or power players? Like they had to work together. Yeah, right. So like, was that really the environment for him to go after?
Wesley started from the bottom with me. And I put him in a group with Lils. And the first time he met Lils, he was like, oh, I got to go after her because she has a power player potential and I'm going to get rid of all the power players. So I'm thinking he was talking all like he's bold and stuff. Say, oh, I'm going to tell her. I was like, okay, go tell her. And he said, I did tell her. And I'm like, what? As I seen the episode, I was like, he just told a whole lot. Like,
yeah, I agree with Dee on that. Like, I feel like for all that talk, like if you're going to talk all that smack, like first of all, it's going to get to her. Because, people are going to be saying that because he's going after her, like, in front of people, like, saying it out loud, like, it's known that he's going after her. So for him to act like nothing, for him to act like he's just cool with her, it was just kind of like, See,
That-
you
that
were
was
talking all
fake.
that.
That was
I thought
fake.
it was
Not
a
even too much
strategy.
Hmm.
I thought it was a strategy at first, kind of like how I did in the first season of Online Survival. Pick somebody and just make them the biggest target you can, so that you're never the highest on the list. But when he didn't follow through with it, when he had a chat with her, it just kind of, I was like, if you're gonna talk all that big stuff, at least give me a show. You know, when you get in
Yeah.
Well,
that
especially
chat,
to
go
like
head
a
to head.
person like Lils, like especially to like that type of person, like
Yeah.
you need to be upfront with her. You can't be just saying stuff to other
Um,
people and then come to
Because she's
her.
gonna
all fake.
read you anyway, so you're gonna have to say it. She's gonna put on her glasses and read you. So
Q, what do you think Wesley's game plan is?
I feel like Wesley is strategic. So correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're in the potential power player group, and then they vote that night, does that determine whether or not you're a power player? So like, will the voting that he was in that night, will that determine if he was a power player ultimately?
It will. I mean, it's the 2 nights combined, but yeah, that.
Right, of course. But like, so it wouldn't have behooved him to sit there, put Lils on blast, get a bunch of ones, talk a bunch of shit, and then not be a power player. So I felt like he's a very strategic person, and I felt, or at least from what I've gathered, so I felt like it wouldn't have made sense for him to come at Lils just yet. Like, if Wesley is really gonna be targeting Lils, then vote her out. Like, don't fucking blast her, vote her out when he gets a chance. So that's what I think. Noted on DD's face.
Well, we can't say too much because
I
like
can't
we
say-
know both of the
can't say
people very
nothing.
well now. So
are they
it's
gonna
hard to
see
say
this?
without
If they see this, they know how I feel. So
saying.
I already told them before.
Do you think there was any? Oh, go ahead, Taste.
I said I'm just looking for some drama. I want to see it going forward.
I will say that starting with the next episode, it's about to explode in
Yes.
drama.
About to go down.
Is there anything big that I didn't touch upon that you guys can think about?
I'll say I need to apologize to Elizabeth for calling her Snake-a-Beth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
after seeing the episodes after that, I mean, it wasn't. I think my dislike was, I don't know how to put it. I think as a game player, I was upset to hear you just put that information out there, and it just really disappointed me. But yeah, you're not a snake. That whole group is a snake.
Yeah, and that's like, okay, it's just like you'll see, like I'm not gonna hold back my personality at all during this game. Like I'm playing as who I am, like so like it's the complete opposite. Like and a lot of people did feel off about me in the beginning, like, and I'm not gonna say any more about like how they feel about me now or later, but in the beginning it was just I see that now there was something just about me that like. Just back of the brain, like they were like, I don't know about this girl.
It's
but
the curse of being a Sagittarius. I mean, you just nobody likes them.
we're just
They like me.
We're just
They like
honest.
me. What are you saying?
I know.
I do
Like,
have to
I
take
know
that back,
that
'cause
he
I
was
like
one
Dee Dee.
after the fact. Like whenever I watched the show, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's one too. But me and her, yeah, we didn't get too much time in the beginning together. So
The next day, I was like, "Where's Elizabeth?"
Yes, Dee Dee was one of the ones that liked you
Yeah.
at the beginning. Well, any last thoughts before I sign out? From any
When's the next meeting?
I'll have to let you know. I don't know exactly.
Okay. If Leo's gonna be here, count me out.
If Leo's gonna be here, can I come too?
I got onto him so hard about the ones. I'm like, I thought we were friends. Like,
That
I
was
thought
funny.
we were true friends, bro.
I thought he was lying about that part, but it said everybody else. I screamed at the TV. I was like, "Whoa!"
I was like, oh my god, like
That was funny.
Yes, those ratings just got progressively worse the next person went through.
Mhm.
Well, I guess that's it. I want to thank everybody for showing up and talking a little.
Yeah,
Hopefully
it was nice
you'll-
seeing you again, Nick.
Yes, nice seeing everybody again. The next few episodes will be a lot, so prepare yourselves.
I'm ready. Ready
The
for it.
next one isn't as bad, but like 5 through 7, just nothing but drama, really.
Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna say what I'm excited to see and scared to
I'm
see
not gonna say either.
in me, but yeah.
I just want to say Leo is my
Definitely.
favorite player.
All right, well, we'll leave it with that, and I will talk to you all later.